Hello again. So this is part 2 of finishing Mr. Tiger. If you'll remember from the last video, I have created Mr. Tiger out of construction paper, and I used some materials to make the shapes, and I've placed them and I've glued them, but there are some details missing. So at this point, I'm going to use my marker to add the details and finish with the whiskers and the hair that's on the side there. So first of all, I'll take my black marker and I will do the pupils of the eyes. I will do the nostrils of his nose. They're just little circles right at the bottom of the triangle. And any other black, I might even just do the mouth, which is a curved line, and then a straight line across. I can always add that detail later. You get to choose how you do this. I'm just making these suggestions. Then I also have the part that attaches and the whiskers or the hair that I need to cut out. Coloring that in. But I also noticed that when you look at these two, there's brown. So the brown here and here, I'm going to add those dots and the line, and then I'm going to add those stripes and the eyebrows. So the eyebrows are curved, almost like you're making an arch for the letter M, and you can just use a marker. You can use crayon. You could do this in pencil before you get committed to using color. If you want to use pencil first to draw it in and then add later. Because I've already done this before, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable in doing it this way. I'm going to draw the lines at the top. You can see it's just going to make a line in the middle, but I'm making it almost like a triangle in the center, and then I'm going to add I want that a little bit longer. Then I'm going to add 2 shorter triangles next to it, just to give the illusion of stripes. This is another great reason to have something underneath, because if I accidentally mark above my artwork, I'm drawing on the paper, not on the table. I'm going to draw the lines that make the side stripes. And I notice they're slightly curved on the book, so I'm choosing to make them slightly curved. You could do them straight across. You could add more stripes. You could add fewer stripes. This is the fun part about artwork, is making it your own. Or if you really just want to copy exactly how Peter Brown did it, then go for it. If you find that a stripe is too thick or not thick enough, you can make a change how you choose. I'm going to do, let's see, I've got my nostrils. I probably should do one more stripe. And I'll color this in. Good. Okay, so I've got my stripes, I've got my eyebrows, I've got my eyeballs. Now I'm going to take my brown colored pencil or marker or crayon and do these brown, almost like freckles, brown dots here on the cheeks, that these would be where the whiskers might come out. Do 3 circles next to each other, 3 circles next to each other. There. And then I do the straight line down that divides, just attaching the point of the triangle to the bottom of his smile. Just like a straight line as best as you can. If it's crooked, just fill it in. On this one I had problems and the glue wasn't dry yet, and it was, when I drew on it, it made a big gash, so I needed to cover it with paper. So this one I put a little brown paper on there. But I let this one dry before I turned it back on because I learned my lesson. So here I'm making these ovals and just making them almost like freckles or long freckles that go up and down. You might want to add shading or fringe. Fringe is kind of like, it makes it look fluffy. You could do check marks. It's kind of up to you, really. I'm just trying to see what it looks like from the illustration of the book, and that was the fun part. So I'm adding some shading. I'm just following the jagged line so that it can look almost like he is furry. So you can take a look here. There is my finished tiger. There's something I'm missing. I'm wondering if you're noticing. Can you tell me, what am I missing from my Mr. Tiger? I'll bet you figured it out. It's the hair. I forgot to do the hair or the whiskers. So something I might do is I might cut here, because I've already cut into this paper. I might cut here and make little rectangle checks. So I'm just going to do that. You might choose to draw a line there. It's entirely up to you. I'm just going to cut straight across, cut straight across. I've got 2 pieces of paper now that I can cut and make whiskers from. So I'm going to put them together. They're pretty decent in length, and just cut, cut, cut. And they're about an inch long each. Yeah, you can see those. I know they're kind of out of the picture, but I will use them. So I'm going to use those. However, I'm going to be gluing on the back. So when I turn him over, they are glued on the back so that you can see they're slanted as I glue. So I put glue and then I glue them this direction, okay? So I'll just put a strip of glue. And I will take my cute little whisker hairs and I will glue those. I have 3 for each side. You can have more, you can have less. Just at an angle. It kind of reminds me of Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. I like that show. I used to watch Mr. Rogers, and Daniel Tiger was a puppet on Mr. Rogers. But Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, if you've ever seen that, is a cartoon that's on PBS. So here we are. It's Mr. Tiger, and this is Mr. Tiger's Gone Wild. If you're feeling extra adventurous, you might feel like making Mr. Tiger a hat and bow tie. Since he's wearing a hat and bow tie, I cut out some shapes. I'll show to you. You do not have to do this unless you want to, but it's something to add. I cut out a square in black, and you can put his hat on. I cut out a curved line. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I can glue that there to make a hat for him. And you can glue it on the front, you could glue it on the back. And then I also, let's see if I can make that work a little bit better. And then I also cut out some shapes. These 3 shapes can make a bow tie. If you take 2 triangles and 1 small circle, which by the way, this circle is the same size as the inside of his ear, or you can make it bigger, it's your choice. If you put on these triangles, they have tall tops, point them together, and you can glue them with the circle in the middle to look like a bow tie. It's got a cute little bow tie now. I don't know if you can see that very well. However, that's a way to make Mr. Tiger Goes Wild before he goes wild. I also did something else for fun. I noticed the shapes of all of these greens and I cut out shapes because I wanted him to be wild. I put him in the forest. That might be another way you want to do your artwork. So whether Mr. Tiger has gone wild or Mr. Tiger has some style with his hat, you decide. Have fun. I can't wait to see what you've made, and have a great week. Bye, friends.